What's up, chat? I'm Dibbles, and welcome back to dibbles.dot.esports. In this video, I'll be making my predictions for Masters Bangkok Swiss stage, which starts in literally like 4 hours from now or 3 hours from now. But it's really fresh content, I guess. So watch this while you wait for the event to start. This is gonna be a smaller video and hopefully a quicker video because I'm just gonna go through just the beginning matchups and my predictions. So let's get into it. So here are our teams going into Masters Bangkok. From China, we have Edward Gaming and Trace Esports. From EMEA, we have Team Vitality and Team Liquid. From Asia Pacific or APAC, we have DRX and T1. And then from Americas, we have G2 and Sentinels. Compared to last year's Masters Madrid, only Sen and EDG are returning to the first global event in the VCT. And both teams can be argued to win this event, as EDG were the previous Champs 2024 winners and Sen were the Masters Madrid winners of last year. Our first matchup of the tournament is between Champs winners EDG and second seed Team Liquid. And here are some notes to begin with. EDG played 16 maps, winning 12 of them across all the maps, and only losing 3 maps on Lotus and once on Bind. Team Liquid, on the other hand, have played the most series at 8 and played the most maps at 24, yet they only have 15 map wins across only 6 of the 7 maps, as they've never won Pearl. And here is how I would favor the maps of the teams. Of course, for some of these maps, Team Liquid does have more wins, but with the way EDG may have played the map or the way EDG may have dominated, I will favor that over Team Liquid. Starting with split, I'm going to give this to TL because they have multiple wins on the map, so they're more comfortable on it, and only EDG have won it once. So that goes to Liquid. For Pearl, I'm going to give it to EDG as Liquid have lost it 3 times. And, EDG have only won on it 2 times, but they still won on it. Lotus, now I know EDG lost 3 times to it, but I favor EDG more on it. And as both teams don't like this map, TL have banned it way more, so I'm going to give this out to EDG. And also, with the Chinese teams, since they've ended kickoff a week, what was it, I think 10 days earlier, or around 10 weeks to 2 weeks earlier than the rest of the regions, they have more time to at least work on their weaker maps and make them either decent or solid maps, or make even solid or mid maps to the good maps. So I'll give this one to EDG just because I think with the more time they've had, the better that they'll probably work on their Lotus comp. So hopefully maybe it's better. For Bind, EDG, as their map differential, their map win-loss differential is just +1, while TL is 2 for 2. And TL started losing their Bind near the end of their run, so I think EDG should be able to take this one. Now, although both teams are tied at Haven at 3 wins apiece, I'm going to give it to EDG because, well, they won 26 rounds in a row on Haven. So 2-13-0s get you the deserving spot as the best Haven team in this tournament. For Fracture, I'll give it to EDG. And I think, although I like how TL plays this map, and I think that they even like this map as well, if they, of course, don't choose the Sage comp anymore, I still think that since EDG has, 5 maps worth of VOD on Team Liquid on 2 different comps, I think EDG have the advantage just in terms of the anti-power compared to TL having that on EDG. So I'm gonna give it to EDG on this one. But on the Abyss, I mean, EDG did ban the Abyss a couple times, and TL just won it 4 times, so obviously they're the more dominant team. Moving on to the map selections. This is how a possible map selection could go if Team A is EDG and if Liquid are Team B. So EDG would start off with a target ban, banning the Abyss first. TL would ban the Lotus in response. EDG would pick the Haven. I'm not going to go into the attack or defense, but EDG are good on either side. TL would pick into the split. EDG could ban the Bind, and I think this is where EDG wins the map selection, because the TL have to ban either Pearl or Fracture, and let's say if they ban Pearl, we'll have Fracture, and well, they would prefer the Fracture over the Pearl for sure, but I think EDG take it on that map. This is a pretty solid matchup between the 2 teams, and you can argue for either team to take the series. However, I believe EDG will be able to take the series 2-1. The map pool favors EDG more, and although Team Liquid can win on their map picks, I don't think they'll be able to close out the series on the third map. They have good resilience and mental fortitude, but I just don't think it'll be enough against EDG, who are gonna be like out aiming some of their players, and like I have just better teamwork since they've been together. Coming like off the champs win, the roster has been the same, and I think they'll be more confident coming into this tournament actually as a whole. Moving on to DRX versus Sen. Here are some notes I have about the two teams. DRX are the only team to run Tejo on every single map. Freeing has shown the world that he's the best Tejo player. Both teams have played mainly double initiator comps with some double controller with the Viper. DRX did not have any Euro comps, and they didn't really rely on the Vice as much compared to Sentinels, who ran it on a couple maps and have started to incorporate Euro on most of them. Both teams have won the same amount of maps, but Sen has lost more due to just how the bracket played out. Sen definitely, yeah, like Sen run more Euro Vice comps and have incorporated Teo on only 6 of the 7 maps. Both teams technically have 2 new players to their existing core 3 from last year, but Sen's players have better tier 1 and international experience compared to the rookies on DRX. And here are the map's favorites. For Split, I'll give it to Sentinels because it's just a Sen map. It's a classic Sen map. I think DRX will probably, if they have to play Sen on this map, they'll probably play into the Sage, but I think Sen should be able to have antis against that or be able to play basically be able to play against the Sage after going against 100 Thieves. For Pearl, okay, despite Sen losing it, I still will give it to Sen since they have wins on it, and I think they'll work out their kings on defense, and it'll be like a dominant map for them. For the Lotus, I'm going to give it to Sen because DRX lost twice to T1 on it, and I think Sen will be able to use that against them, an anti. And also, Lotus is just a good Sen map in general, so I think Sen will be able to take it here. For the bind, I'm going to give it to Sen just because they at least won it once, and they like to have this float into the map, like the map selection, but they don't necessarily pick it themselves. But I think they'll get better with the Tejo. This is honestly more of a 50-50 map. I just think that because DRX lost on the bind once, Sen will know how to play against them. So it's just kind of like a VOD thing, like a VOD advantage that Sen have against DRX. But also I think like whoever gets the attack first will probably win this map, if that had to be my prediction. Playing the Tejo on attack on this map is easier than playing Tejo on defense or starting out, since I mean like DRX don't run the Vice as much, but if they began running the Vice, Sentinels running Yoru is going to be an excellent counter against it. On the Haven, I'm going to give it to DRX just because Sen never won it and DRX have won it, and if DRX just like watch how G2 played it against Sen, I think they'll be able to like figure out more strategy. Also just Sen didn't have a good understanding of the Euro ISU comp, so I mean, you have to, of course, they can work on it, but I think Sen's going to bind this map as a second map. Fracture, I'm going to give it to DRX. You just look at the numbers. They're going to be favored on this map. And Abyss, I'm going to give it to DRX. Just because Sen have lost on this, and although they've won with the Tejo against G2, that was more of like a G2 anti, and I think just DRX being able to play this map, they're going to be more comfortable on it. Now let's get into the map selections. Assuming that Sen become Team A and DRX are Team B, Sen are going to ban the Fracture, or this is how one of my predictions would be. Sen would ban the Fracture. DRX would ban the Split in response. Sen would pick into the Pearl. DRX will pick into the Abyss. Sen ban Haven. DRX will ban Lotus. And the last map will be Bind, where I think it's going to be 50-50. I have Sen winning this match, but honestly, this is the most 50-50 match of the tournament, and this could go either way. I still think, like, even if Sen loses this game, I still have them making into the top 4, because I think with DRX, I think just the rookies, I value experience more compared to both teams, and I think just having Bang and Narrate have Masters experiences thanks to their like previous teams of KC and 100 Thieves, I think I'm going to give this a Sentinels just basically on experience, and that's something I value more and factor into. But of course, like DRX, if they have anything to prove, is like the rookies have like a lot to prove to show that they can definitely like frag against the best and the top teams. Now for the next 2 games, I think everyone knows what's going to happen. Vitality versus T1. For my notes, I have that T1 won 8 maps across 3 of the 7 that they played, albeit they did play more, but I bring this out because their map wins are concentrated between Pearl, Lotus, and Bind, and for like Split, Haven, Fracture, Abyss, they've won it once, but they've lost it multiple times, except for Abyss, they've only gone 1-1. For Team Vitality, on the other hand, their wins are more spread out across the various maps, and they haven't lost like many maps, only 3, so they have a better win rate. Although T1 did play more games and more maps that also went the distance, which we'll get into. For the split, just based off that foot game, it was absolute dominance, and I'll give it to Team Vitality. For Pearl, I'm going to give it to T1 because Vitality never played it. For Lotus, I'll also give it to T1 since they have more winning experience on it. But for the bind, I'm going to give it to Team Vitality. Like, T1 were barely winning this map, and they almost lost this map to Boom. And they're like, against a good team, I don't think they're going to, like a top Masters team, like I don't think they're going to win it, especially if they're having close games in regional matchups. Haven, I'm going to give to, like, just that Durka play, just the Durka fake clone play. That they're gonna have so much confidence in this map that I'm gonna give it to Vitality. Fracture, I'm gonna give it to Vitality. T1 lost it 3 times, and for the Abyss, Team Vitality. They're very strong on Abyss, and I think it's a map that's gonna be picked often. And I think for teams that have a solid Abyss comp or understanding of the map, they're gonna be able to take advantage of it. Going into like what a potential map ban could look like, T1 are gonna ban into the Haven, followed by Vitality banning Pearl. Then Team Liquid could pick onto the Lotus. Vitality would just pick onto the Abyss. T1 would ban Fracture. Vitality would ban Bind. And that would leave Split as the last map. And I think this map pool really favors Vitality the most. T1 could probably pick up a map if they don't get target banned. But I think Vitality will be confident enough that they'll allow T1's map pick to go through while they'll ban their permas. And T1 do have a quote-unquote at-home advantage here, and that's really the only way I can see T1 winning this series. They are good, and they could turn up. Of course, for all these games, like, as long as the players turn up on the day, like, doesn't matter, like, if your strats are gonna hit, like, if your strats are gonna work, if all 5 of your players are shooting, then, like, you'll win the game, right? But for Vitality, I think I have more faith in their shooters as a European super team compared to the Korean super team that should be T1, but not really. Like, they haven't proven that because DRX is like above them, for a reason too, right? They're the T1 are a second seed, while Vitality are first seed for a reason. And I think everyone favors Vitality in this series, and T1 didn't convince me in their one because yes, like, you win your games, they've made it to second seed, but all the games have gone to the distance, and when you go against a team like Vitality, who take big leads in the first half of maps, you cannot let that happen because the players on Vitality are going to be good enough that just on their own that they can win rounds for the team. So I think when it comes down to which 5 players can out frag or just outskill the other, Team Vitality have proven that their players are going to be difficult to handle, especially Durka and Safe. And you can argue less, and you can argue Trex, and you can argue Kicks. It's that team is so good, and when all the players are playing together and playing really well, they boost the confidence. It's like a status multiplier for the other players, and it improves all their play. Going into the final matchup, we have G2 versus Trace, and similar to Vitality, my team notes for this, bro, G2 are just the best. Trace have never played Taeho because of how early the Chinese kickoff was, but they could surprise us with Taeho incorporation since they've had time to work Taeho into the comps, and they have also more time to incorporate Vice into the comps after seeing the other regions play it. Going into the how each map would favor each team, for a split, I give it to G2. Yes, they lost on this map against Sen, but it was against Sen. I think if they go against a decent team, then they can probably take a map win off this. But also Trace never played it, so we don't know what their split comp looks like. Pearl, I'm gonna give it to G2 just because they have 3 wins on it, and that Leaf Chamber, it's brutal, bro. And if Trent has honestly, bro, if Trent has a generational run in this tournament, G2 are 2-0 every team. Lotus, I'm gonna give to Trace since they have just more wins on it. It's just the reverse of Pearl. Bind, I'm gonna give to Trace since we've never seen G2's Bind. Haven, G2. Fracture, G2. Abyss, G2. Just because, yes, they did get antied by Sentinels, and that's something that Trace should look into. But I think after getting antied with the Taeho, I think G2 will be able to adapt to it and be able to deal with it going against other teams. A map veto for this game is probably going to look something like G2 banning Lotus, Trace banning Pearl in a response, G2 pick Abyss, Trace pick up Bind, G2 ban Split, Trace pick ban Haven, and the last map is Fracture. This is this could favor Trace, or I think this could give Trace at least one map, but just like I still want to give it to G2 just because the roster has been together for so long. They've been basically like together for not 3 years, but like a year with Leaf, and then they're adding Jagamo, which is just like a world class player, and like the core of the team has been together for so long since the guard days, right? So this team just has a good understanding of each other, and compared to Trace, who like also haven't really made any major roster changes, just the quality of players in G2 and each role that they play, like it just favors them. So like they're so strongly favored in this match. It'd be a surprise if Trace beat them. I think just because the Chinese teams have like that more time for prep factor going into this tournament, which kind of like makes it more uncertain how good they really are. I wouldn't say this would be the up if Trace were in this match. This wouldn't be the best upset, like the biggest upset. I think the biggest upset would go to Vitality versus T1 because T1 have just looked shaky, and I think APAC is going to be the weakest region coming into this tournament. Going into my predictions, I think Abyss will be the most played map in the tournament, with Fracture being the most common third map, as a lot of teams don't really ban Fracture and they let that float as a third map option. And Abyss just like, I think right now teams are able to exploit how the map is, and I think teams have difficulty defending it. So I think teams are going to kind of pick into it, just like how teams like, I think if Abyss wasn't in this map pool, people would just pick into Fracture just because of how difficult it is to defend on the map. For teams, I think every T1 series will go to distance just because of like, it's a trend. I think they're just gonna like stick true to it, and a regional matchup will be played in the first round of playoffs. If a regional matchup is played, that means like one region gets knocked out in the Swiss stage. But yeah, I think I have Korea, APAC really. But for agents, I think Teo will be the most picked agents, and then your Vice Tejo comps will be played on at least 4 maps. And yes, this Euro Vice Tejo is coming from more of the Americas comps, but I think teams are gonna see how good Euro is against Vice, and then Tejo is just like an OP agent right now, so they're gonna play the Tejo with the Euro Vice, and since Yoru counters Vice so much, and then I expect Vice to have more play on like at least 4 maps, right? So I think as a prediction, like we're gonna see a lot of Yoru Vice Tejo comps, and like Yoru is just like right now the best duelist. Yeah, that's my prediction, me. And my Masters Bangkok winners are gonna be EDG. And I was thinking about this because I in my previous videos, I've said that I expect EDG and G2 to make the finals. I think it was Sliggy, but he mentioned how like if EDG made it to the grand finals of this tournament, I think they're gonna be favorites because they've been there, they've done that. They're gonna have so much confidence if they make it to the grand finals that whatever team faces them, whether it be G2 or like Vitality in the finals or whatever team, I think just based on like a confidence level, EDG will just have a better performance. It might go to distance with the quality of those teams, but I think EDG will be able to close it out because they've been able to win like an international like champs, right? And then this will just be another go at it. And they have the experience now since they're like China's best team. So and they've been in the VCT for a long time. So this team is like they're veterans on the stage, and I think they're gonna go past. They're gonna definitely make playoffs. I would be very shocked if they didn't. And of course, it's definitely hard for teams to like win back-to-back tournaments, as like Fnatic are the only team to have done it. But I think with this EDG roster, I believe that they'll be the ones to go from a champs to a masters and make history in that sense. And here's just my pickums on VLR. Yep. I know I'm like a sheep. I'm just following the crowd. I just click like I click the colors I think are pretty, and yeah. The Sen one could go 50-50. I'm like I swear the Sen's gonna go 50-50. But I still would have Sen making it into the top 4. I mean, this is a stacked tournament. Compared to last year, this is such a stacked tournament. It's like last year people really had Sen like on top and winning with Gen G, but I think now I think it's just harder to predict which teams are gonna win because it's very close between like EDG, G2, and Team Vitality, and Sen would be like kind of like the underdogs of playoffs, but okay, the real underdogs are going to be like Trace and T1, and then Dark Horse ironically would be like Team Liquid and DRX. DRX are kind of in the Sen camp where they could do it, but like I wouldn't expect them to make top 3. So yeah, that's my video. Masters Bangkok is starting like pretty soon according to my time. So hopefully I can edit this before it starts, and then after these next 2 days of Swiss stage 1, yeah, I'll make my predictions for like Swiss stage 2 or Swiss stage round 2. Heck yeah. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. I hope that was entertaining. I hope you agree with me. I hope I've convinced you maybe to agree with me. But let me know in the comment section what you guys think and who do you think is gonna win at like win it all or win the matches. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe, and turn on the bell notifications to get notified when the next one drops because these are gonna come out pretty frequently. I'm Dibbles. This is dibbles.esports, and thanks for watching. What's up, chat? This is Dibbles in Post. I just kind of wanted to share my thoughts about what the next couple of videos are going to look like. Obviously, for this video, it's much less like edited. It's more like relaxed, which is kind of like the vibe I'm going for. There's obviously a lot of data and yapping, and that's just how I like it. But and also like my voice is pretty soft just because like my parents are sleeping downstairs, so I kind of feel bad for talking at full volume. But yeah, I mean that's kind of just a consequence of me playing like 3 Val games and like coaching at the same like session. So that's on me, bro. Passion for the game, bro. Passion for the game. Um, for the next couple videos, the Masters Bangkok profiles, I'm gonna incorporate their Masters Bangkok results. So like as teams get eliminated, if I haven't covered them already, I will like for the teams I have covered, I'll just do update videos for. And then for the teams that get eliminated that I haven't done videos for, they'll have a full complete like from kickoff to Masters Bangkok, like what their run looked like and what to expect going into stage 1. That's kind of like how I'm gonna do it. And well, yeah, if you're still listening and looking at a black screen, okay, no, I'll put something up on the screen. But if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Big ups to the Mandim, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.